Yeah, hey Phil, Kermit. Yeah, there's no way we're going to get that Waco trip part two done. There's just too much material that we need to come up with. It's kind of hard working separate like this. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to run over real quick and do a Kermie cam on the B-25. A couple of people have asked, so we'll do that, and I'll drop box you over the videos. So cool. All right, good deal. Bye. Okay, here we go. Headed over to the Museum Hangar, and I see Jack over there working. Jack's working on a starter problem on the Waco for some reason. Haven't been able to fly it because I can't get it started. Looks like maybe Ken's over there too. It's kind of interesting. Everybody's supposed to be quarantining, social distance. There's nobody here working. I've got a couple of girls that come in to pay bills and pick up mail and stuff, but nobody's actually working here, so we're still waiting what's going on this whole coronavirus thing. Let's see what's going on here. What's happening? What are you doing over here?
I just thought I'd stop in and see Jack.
Oh. A starter solenoid that's shorted out inside.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Try and find one.
Okay, no big deal. Anyway, so at least we know what the problem is. Okay. I wonder if the other switch was still good.
No,
Yeah.
It
was. Oh, so you pulled it out and tested it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to do a Kermie cam on the B-25 because we're not going to get this video done for tomorrow. So anyway, and I just forgot my light. So over and out. Got to go back to my office. Sorry about that. Okay, I just realized that I'm going to do a little bit of a, before I go get my light from my office. And I came over earlier and I had to take all the covers off, because we've had this sitting outside for some things that we were doing inside the hangar. So we've got covers for it for the nose. This is a B-25J. It was rebuilt out of Carl Scholl's Aero and Tony Ritzman's Aero Trader out there in California doing my A-26. They also did a lot of work on the B-26 as well. So anyway, so I took those covers off earlier, and because I had to get up on the top there, I'm going to go up there while I've got Ken and Jack here to save me in case I bust my butt. Okay, I'm going to try and get up here and not kill myself. Oh, God. Okay, here we are. So, top of the B-25. There was a reason, I can't remember what the story was, but this got this little bit of a, I think the airplane originally came and it had full dihedral, and there was some reason, and I can't remember why. They went back and they lowered this wing here, so it's got that funky looking little bit of a gull wing. Of course, you can see up here on the top the stacks. This particular one has individual stacks, so it sounds really cool. Some of the other ones had a full collector, and they maybe came out both sides. You can see where there's 3 fuel tanks, one out here, 2 in here. Got all sorts of original things on here. That's the upper turret. I'm thinking, I can't remember. It's been so long. I think this is a Sperry turret. I don't think that's a Martin turret. Anyway, little hand grips here. Check out these little deflectors here for the upper turret guy, to where obviously it keeps from shooting off the tail there. So that's kind of a neat deal there. If the guns miss a little bit. This right here is a life raft compartment, you know, so there'd be a life raft in there. And I got to tell you too, this friggin' B-25 is the most original B-25 as far as everything that's in it on the freaking planet. We got a reserve grand champion at Oshkosh one year. It was a very long restoration, like I think it was 18 years they worked on it. But anyway, you can see the little side guns there. Let's see what else we got up here. You know, basically, we're sitting outside, so we have some little cups on there for the stacks to keep the rain from going in and out. Again, oil tanks. That's a pretty cool shot of the turret right there. Okay. See all the ammo. There's an escape hatch right up there. Pilot and co-pilot can get out. And then, of course, up the gunner nose up there. Anyway, so that's basically what's happening there. And, of course, everybody knows this is the type of airplane that Jimmy Doolittle did the famous 30 seconds over Tokyo raid with. So, and I'm going to turn the camera off here in just in case I bust my butt trying to get down here. So, anyway, thank you. Oh, God. My mechanics back there telling me that was not an OSHA-approved departure. So, anyway, so that's the inlet for the carburetor. You can see the inlet for the oil coolers over there. Landing light. Prop governor. It's an R2600, like 1600 horsepower. Hamilton Standards props, so the oil pressure basically is used to determine the angle of the blade, and that's the governor right there that basically controls that. Twin row. And let's see a little bit of a walk around. You can see all the little individual sites. This airplane sounds great when it's running. Like I said, you can see a little bit of that bent wing right there. Like I said, the early ones, I'll have to go do a little bit of research, but the early ones had the full dihedral. I don't know what, maybe it was too much dihedral for, you know, the airplane guys complained about it or something or whatever, the test pilots, so they changed the wing and stuck it down. Let's see what else, just a little bit of a walk around. Flaps, ailerons are fabric, okay. Rudder and elevator are fabric. It's a landing gear doors, so the gear comes back when it goes up. This is a trailing antenna here, so there's a reel inside the airplane that actually, this is a big lead weight right here, and it would trail behind here to give an extra antenna length. Of course, you get 250 caliber guns for the sides, 250 caliber guns for the tail, 250 caliber guns at the top. The J here, this particular one, and those are actually original metal gun packs. Most of the ones you see flying are made out of fiberglass. 450s in the front, and then I think there's a couple of 50s up in the nose as well. I'll go look at those later. So anyway, so fabric control surfaces. A mooring hook there. This must be like a little skid down here in case they, you know, try to do a three-point landing. Tail position back here. A couple of exit holes there. That must be the potty for the gunner. That's for number 1, that's for number 2. Just kidding. I don't know what they're for. Twin 50s in the back there. So you can see the out there. This particular airplane is painted up in the colors that came out of the Air Apaches in the South Pacific. And that's their markings right there. So it was an original, actually, paint job. And all the Apache Princess and all the gunners on there, when the airplane, I think, went down, they would swap airplanes around as well out in the field, depending on missions and who was available or whatever. But basically, this airplane was delegated to a pilot named Roman Onimus. I actually got a chance to fly with him, let him fly the airplane. So the artwork on the original Apache Princess was similar to this, but the artwork on the girl was pretty good, but the face just was not very good. Okay, so now over here we've got a tow bar, and this actually, believe it or not, we've got a little thing on there. We can actually hook it up into the bomb bay. Is that pretty cool? So we can take it with us. So it hooks up here, and as I recall, there's a little cap here that basically goes over this. So for this to work and disconnect from this, this doesn't have any kind of steering deal on there. You use differential throttles or brakes. And when you first get in one of these, it just sits there and the airplane goes boom, boom. So what you have to do is you have to move it forward a little bit and just basically use very, very little brake here to kind of make it do what you want to do. So it takes this B-25 is the same way. So this pops out. There's a little cap somewhere. I don't know where it is, but oh, here it is, right here. Yeah, okay, so this pops out. This goes over, and this basically disconnects this from the system, so you can actually tow the airplane around with a tug. So that's basically the way that works. A little bit of a wooden deal right there is a rubber that rubs up against the door there. Of course, we got more. Oh, looks like the antenna's out. Oh my God, emergency, emergency. So we got one fixed gun, and then one flexible gun for the guy that operates the bomb site. Anyway, so what I did was, as I said, well, hey guys, why don't we do this? I didn't have a bomber that had kind of a nice little Varga girl on it, so we found this one, and the original artwork was inspired by an underwear commercial back in the day, and then somebody basically put the face on there. I didn't like, so I gave him my wife and my wedding picture, which I took actually. We were the only ones at the wedding in Sedona, and so I had him paint my wife's face on there, so pretty cool. She did not pose technically for that. So anyway, so Roman Onimus and all these people were the original people that flew in the airplane back in the South Pacific. Obviously helped sink some ships, got a train, and obviously the gun packs on the sides are controlled by the pilot, as well as the front fixed gun up here. Okay, so there's 5 forward fixed guns, flexible gun there. And let me go get my light and we'll look inside. I have not been inside this thing in forever. And I got to tell you, one of the reasons I haven't flown it in a while is, check this out, okay? These have self-sealing fuel tanks in here, okay? And it's basically, there's like a rubber impregnated weave with what they call a meringue in the middle, so it's kind of like a sandwich. And what happens is if a bullet goes through there and the fuel starts coming out, the meringue basically reacts with the fuel, the avgas, and it swells up. So theoretically can help stop or, you know, at least shut a leak down. So anyway, so guess what? After a while, we flew the airplane for a while, Oshkosh. That is a fuel tank meringue leak. So before we fly the airplane again, we've made the decision we're going to pull all the fuel tanks out. Carl and Tony, I think, have like an STC or something to make proper fuel tanks for the airplane. You know, some people, like in the later airplanes like B-7, or not later, but in some of the other airplanes like B-17s, they just don't make the tanks anymore out of the same material. And so what they end up doing is, you know, put like, they weld up aluminum tanks or something like that, which can work, but if you have one that basically leaks, you know, you've got a problem. So there was a B-17 that had a fire and they lost the whole airplane because of that. So anyway, we'll see. Let me go get my light and we'll go from there. Okay, I am back. I have a big light. So anyway, yeah, before we go in there, I got to tell you, it's pretty funny too. So my little girl was born in 2004, and the airplane had been around for a while. And back then, when Fantasy Flight was really open and jamming, we had a graphics guy that was on staff, and he basically did a little Photoshop deal and did a little bit of deal. So if I can find the picture, I'll show you. It's pretty cool. Check this out. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so now let me check out this light here. A little light on the subject. These are actual aluminum gun packs, and if you look at just about everybody else is out there that's on the circuit that's got these, they're made out of fiberglass. This was an original set Carl and Tony ended up with. This airplane originally, little flash deal, muzzle deal. This airplane, when I bought it, I think it come out of Alaska. It was one of the early airplanes when Carl and Tony were just getting started. They weren't even at Chino at this time. They had some stuff stored out in the desert in Southern California. I bought the airplane. It turned into a very long project. Like I said, I think it was 18 years. First thing let's check out is the bomb bay. Okay, there's the meringue. It's hard too. You have to probably get that all scraped up and repainted. So anyway, so like if it was something that originally you could put in here, it was put in here. Okay. I think that's plumbed for an aux tank that potentially could go in there. And back in the day when we were doing all this was all pre-9/11. We had this all set up, all these frickin' bomb shackles work. Of course, you can't get any bombs anymore, but we did happen to come across a few watermelons down at the Fort Lauderdale Air and Sea Show. Great. Can you hold that? Yep. We lost the rope already. That was a lot of fun. And there are, I believe, some things that hook in here somehow to help lift the bombs up and load them. There's obviously a little hatch there, and there's a little bit of a crawl space, not a lot between that floor and the ceiling there. And I'll take a peek there. I don't think I've ever gone through there. I'm not, maybe you can, maybe you can't. But anyway, so a lot of this stuff, you know, Carl and Tony had. I'm not sure what's in there. That's probably, that's storage for extra rum is what I'm thinking, okay? So anyway, so that's pretty cool. Let me tone that down a little bit. Looks like a deal there for how you load the bombs in. That's pretty cool. Original piece of kit from the war. Let's start off and go in the back. Okay, so what we're looking for is this little thing right here. This comes down, okay? It's not like an air stair door. It's got nothing on a Gulfstream. So here we go. Our Gulfstream's got nothing on us. Like I said, there is a lot of original stuff that is crammed into this B-25. Yeah, there you go. Here you can see the crawl space up there. There is not a lot of room. You could get through there. I think these are little hand grips if you wanted to go in upside down, but or no, to help shuffle yourself is probably what it is. But anyway, so that's the top of the bomb bay. Looks like an alternator and maybe a generator or something over there. I don't know. It looks like up there, that little can, that looks like the hydraulic tank. You're kind of seeing the two ammo cans there on the upper turret right there. So that's what that is. Backing up here, we got a first aid kit. This is some, original radio stuff. So the radio guy would sit right here. Of course, they didn't have David Clark headsets back then. This is the intercom, deal, talking on the radio and that kind of stuff. What are the cool things that we got here? The hell is that? An intervalometer? I don't know what he'd have one back here for. The bomb sight guy. This looks like some kind of an emergency crank for cranking the bomb doors maybe up and closed. I've been in this a long time. Here you got a camera, okay? Shooting photos out the belly there. This is here's the reel and the cable for that. Remember I was talking about the what do you call it? The trailing antenna. Well, that is that. So that goes out there. Radios and stuff, transmitting units. I got my little. Okay, what's the problem here? Oh, that's what the problem is. Oh, you gotta get this out of here. Check that out. Okay, little Morse code key. That is so cool. Carl and Tony did such a great job. Transmitters, I don't know what all this stuff does, but none of this stuff is obviously used. A real control box that must be like feet out or something like that. That's a heat suiter deal, so if you're in a cold climate, you would plug your suit in there, so you got two, but there must be another one around here because there's 3 guys back here. No, there's actually only 2 because the radio guy would be here. He would be one of the gunners, obviously, in a combat situation. Okay, so we got a little jump seat here for the other gunner. Okay, so fire axe, getting out of the windows. Original World War II little fire deal there. Looks like there's some balancing things here for the gun. Once you disconnect the gun from over here. Let's see if I can set this up. Looks like how it would come out. Of course, we haven't shot the guns in a long time. Well, anyway, I don't want to take that out. But anyway, it would swing around here, blah, blah, blah. Got all the ammo. There's basically your shells coming out of there. You can see how we've got, this is all protected for the people then when they're shooting the guns, that they're not getting all wrapped up in the control cables going in the back. This, I think, is a little thing on the outside. There's a little vent out there that opens up to allow some air to come in. Not sure what that is. Okay, so we got the ammo box back here for this gun. And we got an ammo box here for this gun. was original as heck. We need to come in here with a vacuum. Nobody's been in here in a long time. This looks like a heater for like anti-ice. This little thing right here, this is that's the life raft compartment that we looked at up on the top there. Okay, that's just keep from bumping your head. Little alarm bell for you guys bail out. Okay, of course that's the step where we came in. Now in the back here, we've got some just like flares, cartridges that are made out of wood or something like that. Maybe life rafts, life things there. Of course this little thing here, once you close the door, now you've got a floor, okay? And this little thing is an escape release. So if I pop that, I could shove that out and I could actually crawl out of that. Okay, now we're coming back here. That's a heater. That's a janitrol heater. That's what that is, and that's all going back to there. And I think that's just for the glass in the windows or something. That wouldn't have been for the suits, because the suits were electrical. They would plug into this thing right here. Coming back, we are starting to see the ammo boxes for the oxygen bottles for the two guys there. These are the ammo boxes for the 250 calibers in the back here. So we're basically coming back, and you can see this is the horizontal stabilizer spar here. So the horizontal stabilizer goes across there. They got two vertical fins with the rudders up there. You know, we've got some cables coming back here for the elevators and the rudders. I'm on my knees, crawling back here to check